FlexMFG Discrete for Acumatica is a flexible and comprehensive solution for make-to-stock manufacturers who do not require the complexity of a full manufacturing ERP. FlexMFG Discrete is built on and extends Acumatica's Distribution Edition. By converting kit specifications into a bill of materials, FlexMFG Discrete is able to offer master production scheduling, barcoded travelers, MRP functionality, and more. The dynamic bills of materials account for both labor and materials, so you can have greater insight into your cost of goods sold and tighter inventory control. For this video, we are using the example of a company that makes, stocks, and sells health and beauty products for commercial use. So a manufactured good might be a package consisting of the items you'd expect to find provided in a hotel bathroom. In this scenario, the company prefers to bottle certain liquids themselves as it is cheaper to purchase them in bulk than in smaller units. So some of these components will require production themselves, resulting in a multi-level bill of material. Several of the manufactured goods share common components, and many of the components are sold as standalone items in various unit sizes. Due to the multiple sources of demand on each of these finished goods, their components, and the production needed for them, this company requires the use of FlexMFG Discrete's master production scheduling and material requirements planning. Since the scenario we are working through is for a make-to-stock manufacturer, we will begin by using the production planning tool to forecast our production needs for the next several months. Although we could define our planning period differently if we needed to. We'll also specify whether we want to use sales or manufacturing history as our source data for this production plan. Optionally, we can add a description of the forecast. As we add the manufactured goods that we want to forecast, you'll see that we have several features at our disposal to help give accurate data. There are a few forecasting methods available, including a manual option if you prefer to calculate and upload figures from a spreadsheet. We can also identify a substitute ID, which would be essential in a scenario where there is a new version of a product or a product is being replaced altogether. By identifying an item here, we can use the product history from the substitute ID to forecast for the new item. With our item selected, we can calculate our forecast. Based on the historical data, the system has calculated slight growth month over month. We now know how many of these manufactured goods we can expect to sell in the coming months. Our Requirements tab will allow us to view what resources will be required to complete this production plan across all of the finished goods we forecasted for. After reviewing the results, we might decide to move forward by only generating the next 2 months' worth of work orders for these items. As we make that change, conditional formatting will provide clear visibility into the changes being made. Now we can generate our work orders. Taking a look at the work orders generic inquiry provides a high-level view of all work orders across all statuses. At the top of our generic inquiry are the work orders generated by the production plan that was just run. Looking down the inquiry, you'll notice that work orders can also be generated from and linked to individual sales orders. All of the underlined fields are hyperlinks that can be used to drill down to see greater detail of each line of the inquiry. The inquiry can also be complemented by side panels, which allow us to see reports related to the inquiry without navigating away from the current screen. As we open the recently generated work orders for review, you'll notice that they are in a status of planning, which allows us to make changes to our dynamic bill of materials as needed. We can review material and labor that are required for each specific work order, as well as the cost associated with those requirements. Our Cost tab will show the estimated cost of the entire work order. If we make any changes to the quantity of the finished good or its components, our estimated cost will update accordingly. Once satisfied with the details of our work order, we can check the inventory levels of the needed components. The work order will inform us of how much inventory we have on hand of these components. If there is not enough inventory on hand to complete production of the finished good, the work order will instruct on how many will need to be purchased or produced. Since the bill of material for the finished goods we're working on now is a multi-level, we can see that production of subassembly components is necessary. By completing the planning of this work order, child work orders will be automatically generated for production to occur for subassembly components. If we review the work order for those child orders, we can see that based on current inventory levels, purchasing will be required to complete them. The work order will use the vendor lead time associated with those needed items to calculate when the work order will be able to be completed. Back in our generic inquiry, we can see that the newly produced child work orders and their association with each of their parent work orders. Since purchasing is required to complete our production plan, we will use the Production Requirements Processing Center, which offers MRP functionality. Within our Production Requirements Processing Center, we first define our parameters like date range and warehouse. Then we can sort and filter which work orders we want to see by a variety of factors, like inventory item, scheduled date, vendor lead time, or status. By running the requirements report, we can see all of the items that need to be purchased against all of our pre-selected work orders. The report displays each item that needs to be purchased while listing each of the work orders that are driving demand for that item. By aggregating the demand across those work orders and comparing to current inventory levels, while taking safety stock into consideration, the report provides a purchase recommendation. Knowing your total purchasing requirements can increase your purchasing power and flexibility depending on your replenishment preferences. Purchasing for all of your upcoming work orders might qualify you for additional bulk discounts. Alternatively, you could use the data provided to continue to purchase on a just-in-time basis to protect your cash flow while making sure production doesn't stall. For our purposes, we will process all to go ahead with generating purchase orders for our selected work orders. Since this is a processing center like any other in Acumatica, we could also set an automation schedule to run this process on a defined basis without any manual interaction. The resulting purchase orders have now all been generated for the appropriate vendors. If we open one to review, we'll see that a unit of measure conversion has happened for our liquid components since we are purchasing in gallons, even though our demand was in milliliters. With our needed components received into inventory, production can begin on our work orders. Since the sub-assembly items need to be completed first, we'll begin with one of the child orders. If we check the inventory for these work orders now, we'll see that we have sufficient quantities on hand to begin and complete production, so we can now release the work order. If a traveler is needed for the production floor, we can print or send whoever will need one. As the work order is completed, we can record scrap materials as well as labor actuals. We can also perform partial completions on the work order to make sure inventory is being updated as production is completed. If this is an item that is usually backflushed, we can quick complete the work order instead of recording actuals. Once the child orders are completed, we can follow the same process for the parent work order. Just like before, it's up to you whether you want to backflush time and materials or record actuals for the sake of keeping accurate cost. If actuals are recorded for time and materials, we will be able to compare actuals and estimates for the entire work order or on a per unit basis. With production completed and your inventory fully stocked, the only thing left to do is keep making sales. FlexMFG Discrete is designed to help streamline every step in your manufacturing process, from planning to procurement to production. All the while, you can leverage Acumatica's native reporting tools for in-depth analysis of your business. For more information or to schedule a demo, contact us today at clouderpsoftware.com.